Hello, what's up YouTube? Photographer Ronnie and in this tutorial you're going to be learning frequency separation, skin retouching. Then you're also going to be learning how you can easily color grade your images to get uniform skin tones. And you're also going to be understanding how you can easily add shine to your images in Photoshop, and also find out how to save sharp photos that don't change in color after editing in Photoshop. So simply like this video, and if at all you haven't subscribed, simply subscribe this channel, because when you like the video it also helps you to push and comment this channel to many photographers out there. So simply like this very video. So what we want to understand is frequency separation, and before retouching, always make sure to crop the photo first. So just come right here to my crop tool and choose a ratio of 4:5 or 8:10. So I'll just drag that up slightly and hit enter or return to crop the image. And after cropping the photo, the next thing is going to be basically doing skin retouching and frequency separation. So basically frequency separation divides the image into the high frequency layer and the low frequency layer. In the high frequency layer we have the textures, and in the low frequency layer we have colors. So when we refine the textures alone and the colors alone, and we combine both refined layers involving refined textures and colors, we end up with a nicely edited or retouched image. So we are going to come to the background layer and press Ctrl J, or you can use Command J twice, and you can double click to rename this to, you can name it to low frequency and name this high frequency. So by the way, if at all you want to download the image to follow along, check the links in the description of this very video. So I'm just going to come right here and simply hide the high frequency layer and select the low frequency layer. So like I said, in this layer we only want to remain with our colors or skin tones. So just come right filter, blur, and come to Gaussian blur, and take the slider of the radius all the way down. Look for an area in the skin that has more skin textures than the rest of the image, and with that area taken into consideration, come to the radius and simply left click and drag up. So remember, this is the most important step when it comes to retaining details in your images. The lower the radius, the more smooth the image is going to be, and the higher the radius, the more textures and details that you're going to be remaining with in your image. So I'm just going to come and left click on the radius and start taking up the radius slider. So I have to stop at the point whereby the textures or skin details are just starting to disappear from this very image. So at around 10, that is when I'm just starting to close out on the textures or details. So depending on the image you're working with, you have to stop at the point where you just starting to close out on these skin textures or the skin details and simply hit OK. So when you do this, you're going to notice that the image is going to be looking blurry. So if at all I'm to zoom in, you can see it is looking blurry and it is lacking details and textures, and it is lacking sharpness. So just come to the high frequency and select it and activate it. Come to image and come down to apply image. So the source is the name of the image. The layer, always make sure you select the low frequency layer. The channel RGB. Make sure the blending, since this is a 16-bit image, so if at all you have 16 right here, simply use a blend mode of add, type in a scale of 2 and offset 0, and make sure the opacity is 100%. Preserve transparency and mask are not checked, and simply turn on the invert option, and you'll see the textures on this square like kind of layer. But if at all you have 8 right here, it means your image is going to be 8-bit. So simply come and change the settings to subtract. The scale is 2 and offset 128, and simply don't turn on the invert option, and you'll see the textures on this square like kind of layer. So mine is 16-bit. I'll change my settings back to 16-bit and hit OK. So come and change the blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to linear light. So I'll just come and change to linear light, and that is going to eliminate the gray color from affecting the image. So select these two layers right here by pressing Ctrl. You can use Command and drag them to this folder icon, or you can press Command G, or you can use Ctrl G on the keyboard, and you can rename that to frequency separation, just like that, and hit enter. So you can see we have separated the image into the textures and the colors. So right now we just want to refine the colors alone. So hide the textures for the meantime, and select the color layer, which is the low frequency layer. Come into the brushes and simply right click and get the mixer brush tool. If at all your mixer brush tool is not showing right here, simply locate it down here. So for the settings of every tool we select in Photoshop, the settings are always going to display above here. So just come and simply make sure the hardness is 0%, and with that done, select clean brush, then select the option that says clean the brush after each and every stroke. Is selected because as we're working on different areas of the skin, we don't want the brush to carry colors all over the place. So make sure you select this second option. The weight is 9%, load 75, mix at 90, flat 100%, and make sure sample all layers is not turned on. So just want to brush on the skin. So zoom in by using Ctrl plus, or you can use Command plus on the keyboard. And how to apply the mixer brush tool, you can use the open and close brackets on the keyboard to increase or reduce the size of the mixer brush tool. So basically you just want to mix colors that are looking alike to create a nice and smooth transition amongst those colors. So I'm just going to paint those colors just like that, and I'll come and mix these shadow colors alone. So where this color is transitioning from one color to another, reduce on the size and mix that transition to create that kind of harmony in those areas. So we have a highlight here, so I'll just mix the highlight alone and reduce on the size and mix the transition between the highlight and the midtones. And as you can see, I am working on the image at a distance because I want to see the uneven skin tone transitions better and easily. So, and it also helps you save so much time. So you can, so when you turn on the texture layer, you can see the before after. The textures are still left intact within this very image. So just come and hide this and continue working on the colors. So I'm just going to come. You can see the cheekbone area is moving in this up down kind of direction. So the brush is also going to be moved in that direction. So how to apply this brush based color? I'm simply left clicking and holding down and mixing a given color alone, just like that. And after mixing that color, I release the left click button and I mix a new color. So you left click and hold down to mix a given color. So to mix, you simply drag around a given color. So just come and mix here, just like that. Mix this highlight on the chin area, just like that. So take your time as you're trying to do this kind of process. So I'm just going to do this quick because I don't want the tutorial to be a long one. So I'll just come and mix those areas just like that. Reduce on the size and I work on these colors on top of the lips. So the nose area, I'll move the strokes of the brush up and down because the nose is moving in up and down kind of direction. So mix this highlight alone to keep and maintain the original shape of the model's nose. So I'll just come increase and work on each and every area. So just check on your progress before after. So hide this once again and continue mixing and working on the skin. So let's try to mix these edges just like that and mix this highlight alone just like that. Just a tiny smoothing of the hair area just like that to create some little bit of harmony. So we are now done working on the face area. We are now going to come to the lower part of the body and mix these colors alone. So you can see strokes are moving in an up down kind of direction because the neck is also moving in the same direction. So you always have to take that into consideration. So come and mix on these collarbones and also on the hands just like that. Come and mix, and I hope you can see and enjoy how nice and lovely this has gotten to look, or this has gotten to be in this case. So I'll come and mix on the cheekbone, neck bone, or collarbone rather. So mix just like that, and I think you can see how perfect the results have gotten to be. As usual, always turn on to see the results that you have worked on so far. So after doing this, the next thing we are going to do, or what we are going to be doing, we just want to remove the skin imperfections or the blemishes from this very image. So to remove the blemishes, simply select the texture layer which contains blemishes in this case, and you're simply going to come and get the clone stamp tool. Make sure that the hardness is 0% and soft round brush is selected. The mode is set to normal right there, and opacity at 100%, flat 100%, align is selected, and sample is set to current layer, because we want to remove blemishes that are part of the currently selected layer, which is the high frequency layer. So we are now going to come and zoom into the image by using Ctrl+, or you can use Command+. And by the way, if at all you want to do a little bit of smoothing on the lips, you can do that by selecting the brush or the mixer brush tool and just painting just like that to smoothen the lips a little bit to your liking. So I'll come back to the texture or high frequency layer and select the clone stamp tool. Once again, for the settings, hardness 0, soft round brush is selected, mode is normal, opacity at 100% and flat 100%, align is selected, and sample is set to current layer. And after doing that, we're now going to zoom into the image by using Ctrl+ on the keyboard. So basically, how to remove a pimple or blemish or skin imperfection regarding textures using a clone stamp tool. And by the way, if at all the clone stamp tool is showing a plus icon, press the caps lock key on the keyboard. So how to remove this pimple, for example, I make sure the size of the clone stamp tool is slightly bigger than the blemish that we want to remove. So to copy clean skin, we basically want to copy clean skin from a nearby area and replace that clean skin over the blemish to eliminate the blemish. So hold down the option key on the keyboard for Mac. Then for Windows, it is the alternate key, and left click on a clean area near the blemish and simply left click over the blemish to eliminate it. So that is basically what I'm going to be doing for all these blemishes. And remember, blemish removal contributes over 85% for or to your overall retouching process. So I'll just come and clean up these pimples, skin imperfections, and make sure that I have a nicely retouched and perfected image at the end of the process. So I'll just come and clean up these pimples and blemishes. So take your time, like I've said, while trying to clean up and remove these pimples or imperfections. By the way, if at all you're watching and you haven't liked the video, simply hit the like button, because it helps the video perform better on YouTube, and it also helps the channel grow in the long run. So I'll just come and remove the skin imperfections or the pimples from those areas. So to move to a new area, I'm simply holding down the space bar and dragging to a new area that I want to work on. So I'll just come and remove these pimples, skin imperfections, to have a beautiful image. And don't worry, this is not it for this video. Remember, you have to do the matching and evening of skin tones or skin color plus the eye whitening, and later on exporting a very sharp image that won't change in color when we post it or when we print it out. So stay tuned and don't leave the tutorial as yet. So I'm just going to remove all these blemishes and pimples and skin imperfections. You can see that we have a couple of blemishes or pimples right in this area. So I'll just come and do the cleanup just like that. So like I said, take your time while removing these pimples and blemishes. And I don't want to forward everything or anything, because I don't want it to look like or seem like it is magic to you. So I'm just going to leave everything and do everything slowly and at our own pace, because we are learning and benefiting. So I'm just going to come to the lower part of the body. Remember, you have to clean up each and every part that has skin in order to create a nice and beautifully edited photo or image. So right now we are done removing the pimples or skin imperfections. So you can see we are done doing the frequency separation, and this is the image before after. You can see that we still have the textures left intact and the image doesn't look plastic. So next thing is going to be basically working on evening out the skin color or skin tones and having uniform skin color. So just come to the adjustments and create a gradient map adjustment layer. It is going to apply any other random color over your image. So just come and hide the gradient layer by turning it off right here. Select the gradient icon, make sure the gradient icon is selected, and left click on the color option, and it's going to open up the gradient editor dialog box. So make sure the sample is set 5x5 average. Zoom into the image and simply sample colors regarding or varying from the darkest to the lightest colors. So I'm just going to come to my gradient editor right here. So I'm just going to double click once again, then come right here to the darkest point. So this is going to represent the darkest point of the skin tone. So left click once on this pointer and left click on the color, left click on the darkest point of the skin tone, so like that color, hit OK, then left click on the brightest pointer right there and left click on the color option and click on what you feel is the brightest point of the skin tone, hit OK, and now you are going to click in the middle once here and simply type the location to 50 so that it is straight in the middle. Then left click on the color option and click on the midtones or a mid color and hit OK. And by just doing that, you can see we have copied the colors from the midtones or the darkest points, midtones, and the highest or the brightest point of the skin tone. And now come and click OK. Zoom out by using Ctrl minus and select the layer mask right here. And after selecting it, simply come and now activate the gradient layer. So change the blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to color, and you can see it is going to apply the color overall the image. Then simply come and make sure the white layer mask is selected. Then you can come and simply press Ctrl I, or you can use Command I on the keyboard to invert the effect. So just come to the brushes, right click and get the normal brush tool. Make sure the hardness is set to 0% and soft round brush is selected. Opacity in the flat 100%. I'm just going to come and make sure that you have black and white on these two color swatches. If at all you have any other random color on these color swatches, simply left click on the tiny boxes, or you can press D on the keyboard to have these to black and white. So with white as a foreground color, we just want to paint the color grading back on the skin. So increase on the size of the brush by using the bracket keys on the keyboard and simply come and paint on the skin. So I'm using a white brush to paint over the selected layer mask, which is the black layer mask. Remember, in Photoshop, white is going to reveal and black is going to hide. That is why when we're using a white brush to paint over the black mask, it is revealing the colors that were hidden initially below the black mask. So I hope you understand that. So in order to see everything better, I'm just going to be sharing a trick. So let's first of all quickly and easily paint over the face area. So reduce on the size if at all you're painting on a smaller area. Remember, we are using the bracket keys to increase or decrease on the size of our brush. So I'm just going to come and paint just like that, and I hope you are seeing how nicely or how nice the results have gotten to be. Come to the forehead and also paint on the forehead just like that. So if I told you paint on an area that you don't want to be affected, I'm going to be showing you that how you can easily correct that given area. So I have painted on those areas, but I'm going to be correcting them later on. So I'll just come and paint on every area that has skin just like that, and I hope you can see how nice this has gotten to be and to look. So after painting on the skin area, you can see skin tones are uniform, but we have as well made mistakes by painting in the shadow areas. So switch the brush back to black, and black is going to rub the effects or the mistakes that we may have done or committed as you're trying to paint on the skin tone. So just come and erase it from those white areas. So I'm using a small brush to erase the mistakes or the errors from those areas. So switch this back to another color and simply paint just like that. I hope you can see how nice the skin has gotten to look in this case. So come and paint also on this side of the ear. So you can see right now the skin is looking nice, uniform and even. So you can come and paint on those areas. So just come to the properties, to the mask right here, and simply feather it out so that it can look nice and smooth. So this is the before after for the process of unifying the skin tone. So just come and simply turn down the opacity because the effect looks a little bit too much. So after doing that, I'll just come to this and simply create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Come and make sure red is selected and simply turn down the lightness to reduce on the oversaturated colors. -10 looks okay, so I'll just take it. -8 is fine. So I'll just come and create one more black and white adjustment layer. Change the blend mode from normal to multiply and simply turn down the opacity to around 8 is okay, and come and create one final selective color adjustment layer. Then come to the blacks and simply intensify the black slightly to around 2 and simply cool down the image by eliminating the yellows from the skin tones and introducing blues within the skin tone, and that is going to cool down the skin tones. So right now this is what we have. So the next thing we're going to do, you're going to be doing a little bit of adding shine and glow to the image. So in order to add shine or glow to the image, we are simply going to create a curves adjustment layer, and after creating it, click in the middle and drag up to brighten up the image just like that. And after brightening up the image, simply double click on this layer. So you double click to open up the layer style dialog box. So you don't want the effect to affect the darkest points and other areas regarding the image. So just come to this and make sure blend if is set to gray and underlying layer is selected. So drag this slider from the shadow areas up to a point whereby only the brightest points of the image are affected. So I'm just going to stop right there. So if at all the effect looks harsh, simply hold down the option key, or you can simply hold down the alternate key on the keyboard and split this towards the right hand side, and that is going to make the effect blend better into the image. So after doing that, simply hit OK. Then select the white layer mask and simply press Ctrl I on the keyboard. So with the brush tool selected, opacity and the flat 100%, make sure you have black and white on these two colors, and make sure white is the foreground color. So just come and simply paint on the areas you feel should have had this effect. And by doing this, it is going to make the images better and create that kind of three-dimensional feel or look on the images. So I'm just going to paint on the brightest points of the image. So I think this looks okay. It looks great, and you can see the before. So I just come to these properties and close this. I'll close this. So this is the before, after. So if at all the effect is too much for your liking, just come to the opacity and simply reduce on the opacity to your taste or to your liking. So after doing that, the next thing we're going to be doing, we are simply going to come and simply do some eye whitening. So in order to whiten the eyes, we're going to come and create a black and a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Come to the mask and simply take down the saturation to around, we're just going to go around -75. With the white layer mask selected, press Ctrl I, or you can use Command I on the keyboard to invert the effect. Zoom into the image by using Ctrl plus, or you can use Command plus. With white as the foreground color in this case, simply paint in the white area of the eye. So just paint just like that. So if at all you make a mistake or an error, switch the brush back to black right here and erase that effect that you did not want to paint in the very first place. So right now we are done doing the eye whitening. So you can use the same technique for eye and teeth whitening. And after doing this, you can see the overall before and after for skin retouching, color grading so far. So this is the image before, after. You can see how nice the image has gotten to be or to look. So after this, the next thing is going to be saving a very nice and sharp photo. So just come right here to File, Export, and come to Export As. So when you come to Export As, it's going to open up the Export As dialog box right here. So make sure the format is set to JPEG and quality at 100%. Make sure the resample is set to bicubic sharper, and make sure Convert sRGB and also Embed Color Profile have been checked right there, and simply come and hit Export. So when you hit Export, it is going to open up a location where you'd love to save the image, and you can choose that location and hit Save, and it is going to save the photo in that location. And after saving, it is going to automatically close this window and take you back into Photoshop. So this is it for this video, and if at all you have enjoyed this, simply like this video, and don't forget to subscribe this channel if at all you have been watching and you're not subscribed yet to this channel. Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in more videos on this channel. Don't forget to keep practicing and also keep creating.